All
right, go ahead, Nana.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the January 30th, 2023 meeting of the CBLS. It is now 10:11 a.m. and we're going to go ahead and get started. So for everyone present, just be aware this is a Zoom meeting, and like a regular in-person meeting at the State Bar offices, this meeting will be recorded and will be archived on the State Bar's website. The CBLS is going to take all of the items on the agenda in the order that they appear, and votes for any item will be taken by a roll call. Adrian, can you do a roll when we get to any items that require a vote?
Mm-hmm.
And would you like to take a roll of those present this morning?
Of course. Acosta?
Present.
Alano?
Present.
Hammerschmidt?
Present.
Lee?
Present.
Vance?
Present.
And Yoon?
Present.
We have all members here. It's quorum.
Fantastic. Thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your taking the time. And thank you to all of the State Bar staff who are present as well today. Really appreciate all the work that you do for the CBLS and for the State Bar in general. All right, so we'll begin with approval of the March 10, 2023 open meeting minutes. Those meetings were sent to you earlier in a packet for the meeting. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those, but if not, please take the time now to go ahead and review the March 10 meeting minutes. And then I will ask for a motion to approve those minutes once you've had an opportunity to review them. Okay. Would anybody like to move to approve the March 10, 2023 open meeting minutes?
I move to approve.
I second.
Great. So Ms. Acosta moved to approve, Ms. Alano seconded. Adrian, will you please take a roll call vote?
Of course. Acosta?
Yes.
Alano?
Yes.
Hammerschmidt?
Yes.
Lee?
Abstain.
Vance?
Yes.
And Yoon?
Yes.
Those are 5 yeses. The minutes are approved.
Great. Thank you. Great. Moving on to item C, the chair's report. The Board of Trustees recently adopted a public comment policy that applies to all State Bar committees, including this one. The policy statement says that the State Bar of California welcomes public comment at all of its public meetings and appreciates listening to a wide range of viewpoints that reflect the diversity of California. These public comment rules are designed to ensure that members of the public may exercise their right to be heard, as well as to ensure that the State Bar is able to fulfill its obligation to conduct public business on behalf of the people of California in a timely fashion. Written public comment may be submitted to the email address on the meeting agenda. We encourage you to submit written public comments at least 24 hours prior to the start of a meeting. Written comments received less than 24 hours prior to the start of a meeting will be distributed the following business day. For oral public comments, persons were encouraged to sign up to speak in advance of the meeting and will be called in the order that they have signed up. Persons attending the meeting remotely will be called in the order that they appear in the attendee list, and in a moment, I'll explain how to raise your hand to tell us that you want to do that. Speakers cannot cede their time to another speaker. It does not guarantee that all who wish to speak will be able to do so to facilitate the hearing from as many members as possible. So we encourage you not to repeat points that were made by other speakers. Simply say that you agree and allow the committee time needed to deliberate on important topics that we'll be discussing today. We'll be limiting public comments to 3 minutes per person. As a reminder, the State Bar's anti-discrimination and anti-harassment policy says the State Bar maintains zero tolerance for any unlawful harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. Employees must at all times treat other employees, job applicants, and persons providing services to the State Bar with respect and dignity in accordance with this policy. Likewise, the State Bar will not tolerate harassment, discrimination, or retaliation against its employees, job applicants, or members of the public by any employees or by any person with whom the State Bar has had a business, service, or professional relationship. If you are in Zoom and want to speak, you'll need to raise your hand unless you're already in the pre-meeting sign-up list. To do so, click on the hand icon at the bottom center of the Zoom window. If you're participating by telephone, you may virtually raise your hand by pressing *9. That's the star key and then the number 9. Our coordinator will call members of the public, starting with the pre-signups, then the Zoom list in the order that they raised their hands or signed up. Staff will enable the microphones of the speaker, start the timer, and then call out when 30 seconds remain. Do we have anyone that wishes to make comments today?
We did not have any pre-signups, and I do not see any hands in the public gallery.
Okay. We will move on to staff reports. We're going to start with the report on key statistical indicators from Janelle. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So this is a standing item where we like to provide program metrics to give an idea of the overall program health. We would like to specifically identify areas where we experience a 20% change, increase, or decrease when applicable when compared to the last year. So our first slide is the total number of specialists as of June 1st. Any changes, plus or minus, are under the 20% threshold. It is a total decrease of 124 applicants over the previous year, which is only 2.5%. The following areas have saw decreases with 5 or less specialists. We have immigration and nationality with 5, admiralty, maritime, legal malpractice and taxation 3, and franchise and distribution law with 1. All the areas saw a decrease of 10 or more, with family law 30, workers' compensation 21, criminal law 18, estate planning, trust and probate 16, and appellate law 14. Next slide, please. So the applications received, this is initial applications were both received. Both March and May saw decreases above the 20% when compared to the previous year. March seeing a 69.2%, as well as May seeing a 70.1%. However, the year-to-date totals between those months are both decreases under the 20%. And all other data points by month or year all saw decreases under 20%. The recertification applications in the month of April, we saw an increase above 20%, totaling 32.7%. And both March and May saw decreases above 20 when comparing to the prior year of 31.5 for March and 42% for May. The year-to-date totals of the months of both March and May, saw decreases under the 20%. March seeing 8% and May saw 9%. However, the year-to-date totals for April saw an increase of 2%. These are the applications approved. The initial certification applications at each point in 2023 and 2022 by month and year totals when compared to the previous years all saw an increase. The year-to-date totals for March 2023, 2022 saw an increase of 330%. As well as April of 460. The highest increase, of course, was May with 540. The monthly totals for March, April, and May compared to the month in 2002 all saw an increase of 100%. The recertification applications at each point by month or year-to-date totals when compared to the previous years all saw a decrease over 20% except one. The monthly totals for March 2023 had a decrease of 100%, and the April 2023 had a decrease of 74, which were over the 20% threshold. The monthly totals of May 2023 saw a decrease, which were under 20% threshold of 13%, And the year-to-date totals for both April and May saw decreases of 84%, while March saw a decrease of 56%. Next slide. The resignations. The 2023 year-to-date resignations process were much higher than 2022's year-to-date. At each point in 2023 and 2022 year-to-date totals, when compared to the previous years, all saw a decrease under the 20% threshold. March had a 2.5%, April 1.6%, and May 4.55%. At each point in 2023 and 2022, the monthly totals, when compared to the previous years, all saw an increase above the 20% threshold. March seen a increase of 37.5%, April 23%, and May of 70%. Of the 111 processed in 2023, 62 specifically stated that it was due to retirement, which is a 55.8% increase. Any questions?
Just one quick question. Well, it seemed like the decrease, was that mainly, it seemed like the high percentage was mainly people retiring, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So not so bad news.
No.
Great.
All right, so we're going to move on to update on the consulting group on the establishment of a legal specialization in privacy law initiative. And Janelle will please take us through that.
So the privacy law group met twice this year, both one on March 23rd and June 1st. At both meetings, the members presented on the need for the specialty group. Currently, staff is working with 2 volunteers to write a report for consideration to submit to the CBLS. The group is scheduled to meet, discuss, and approve the final report on September 28th, which they'll plan to submit the finalized report for consideration at the CBLS meeting on December 8th. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn to recent developments with Amy and Adrian. Amy's going to start.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. We have embarked on a reorganization in the Office of Admissions, and I'll describe, how this came about and where we are at the moment. So back in 2022, the Office of Admissions started a comprehensive review of our work with an eye towards improving our customer service and creating efficiencies in our work. So we reviewed our policies, our rules, and this included the rules of court, the state bar rules, our guidelines. We were looking for pain points and areas that needed either greater clarity for either our staff or for our applicants. We looked at our website material, just looking for ways of identifying improvement where our work could be conducted more efficiently. And as a result, this led to the rules revisions, which we've been bringing to the CBLS. We have some on the agenda today. It's also resulted in changes in our website and in some instances, even in our instructions to applicants, for example, for some of our applications. And so this also compelled us to revisit how we're carrying out the work in admissions. And so it resulted in us restructuring the work. So we provide dedicated resources in 3 central areas. The first is AIMS, which is our case management system. So we have so the idea is to provide dedicated resources to that. It's a Salesforce platform that requires consistent maintenance and also enhancements because our needs change on a daily basis. So this area would also, aside from the AIMS system, is review our policy work and see that through fruition. Website and forms material development, so we have consistency within the Office of Admissions, and then also looking at our overseeing the accreditation of law schools. We have about 50 accredited and registered law schools that are overseen by our office in California. The other area is the examinations and the budget, and that's one area. And the other is operations, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But operations idea is the areas where we oversee case application. So this includes our testing accommodations unit and our moral character units. And so the idea, the goal of reorganizing the work this way is to work at staff strengths to allow staff to focus on primary assignments where, for example, analysts will be dedicated to analytical work, creating metrics that are very similar from one unit to the next, data gathering, because we often get a lot of questions about our statistics, and also keeping staff in operations focused on processing cases. The reorg also recognizes that the work in admissions has gotten more complex and will continue to get more complex. And so this is a way of us being able to streamline that. And so an example of that is many of you know that we had a Blue Ribbon Commission that recently made recommendations to the Supreme Court, for example, to revise the bar exam. And so in this new org structure, all bar administration will be housed together, from exam development, administration to grading. And so, this gives us, allows us to have the dedicated resources and the ability to take on other projects as well. So with the work divided in 3 areas, it envisions 3 assistant directors. So one in exams and administration, another in operations, and another one that's dedicated, as I mentioned, to the case management system, law school regulation, and policy work. And I've decided, for personal reasons, to step down from director, and I'll be serving as the assistant director, or I am serving as the assistant director in examinations and administration. We have another staff member who is serving now as the assistant director of operations. And we have an opening now for, we're in the process of recruitment for that 3rd assistant director position. And now Audrey Ching is serving as our new director of admissions. These changes started in April. I will continue overseeing legal specialization as part of my examination assignments. And I think this will help align with examinations, given that all of the components of examinations are housed together. And so, I think this is a big update just about changes in the admissions office. And next, I'll talk about some of the changes that involve legal specialization more directly. But before I do that, I want to see if anybody has any questions about this reorg before I move on to other changes in legal specialization. Okay, so, as we explored how admissions carry out its functions, we identified that while some of the work that we do in legal specialization aligns with admissions, there are some that also align with attorney regulation. So specifically, compliance requirements and recertifications are activities that take place after somebody has been admitted into the program. And so in theory, they really align more with the work that's carried out by the state bar's attorney regulation. The work that they do in attorney regulation is ensuring that tracking compliance to, for example, education and fees and so on. And so as a result of this, a part of the work in legal specialization will be going to attorney regulation, such as the recertification, and as I mentioned, compliance training, this compliance tracking related to education. And so anything prior to admission to the program will stay in admissions, given that it is pre-admissions work. So things like the initial certification process, that will stay in admissions, reviewing for eligibility and exam administration, that will stay in admissions. And we will also continue overseeing both the CBLS and the working groups that provide subject matter expertise to our team. And they do that for the exams and for applications. That will continue to be housed in the Office of Admissions. And so where we're at with this proposal is that it's going to the board in July. And we anticipate that the changes will be implemented soon after that, should the board approve this realignment. And so Again, the idea is to separate the work between pre-certification and post-certification. And so pre-certification, just to remind everybody, includes rules, policies, certification oversight, exam development, grading, exam administration and registrations. We'll keep tracking the initial certification counts, conducting public outreach, applicant outreach, and pursuing the new specialty areas such as the PLG that you just heard about. And some of the post-certification processes that are moving to the attorney regulation include the management of the certification maintenance, so the annual fees, the legal specialization CLE compliance, monitoring compliance of those requirements, resignations, judicial tolling, the wall certificates, the certified special outreach and the newsletters. And so that those are some of the functions that how the functions will be separated. And also, unfortunately for us in operations, this also means transitioning 2 of our staff to that will oversee that work in attorney regulation. So 2 of our staff from admissions will be moving to attorney regulation. There's Janice Boating and is not here today, and Latrell Cabriguez will be joining attorney regulation. We will keep the 3 remaining staff members in admissions. And as you can imagine, this was not an easy decision for us to make. We based it on seniority to be as fair as possible. The 2 staff members that are joining attorney regulation have made great contributions to this team. And we plan to continue meeting with them through this transition period, and as much as a need arises, because we still are a joint effort serving the both the committee, so serving the this board here, as well as our constituents. We all recognize that our constituents are still the legal specialists that are active, and are also people aspiring to be legal specialists as well. So we're hoping that this will also improve some of the service provision that we have for our constituents, and we'll continue to monitor and bring any issues as they arise to this team here, and provide updates on that change. Are there any questions related to either of the 2 initiatives?
Well, it sounds like a big change, but we thank you for all of the efforts in getting that together and finding ways to continue to streamline and improve the administration of the program. So thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Great. So I just wanted to give, did I?
Nope. You're good.
All right. I just wanted to give a quick update about the upcoming legal specialist examination. I do apologize due to an administrative error. Registration for the October exam, it is going to open on August 1st. We were originally hoping to open on July 1st, but with the 2021 legal specialist exam fee reduction, the current schedule of fees still reflects that amount. So we do have an item going to the Board of Trustees to bring those registration amounts back to the standard amounts before opening the registration. We do currently have about 400 applicants already that specifically indicated interest in the 2023 exam. There are applicants for all the exams except for 2. Those are the Admiralty exam as well as the Criminal Federal exam. And then we will also be reaching out to applicants who previously took the exam that were unsuccessful. Any questions on that? And then if not, I will just note that the legal specialist reorganization and this legal specialization exam registration update, we are going to include those in our upcoming all specialist newsletter that we do plan to send out shortly. So
Yeah, I was going to suggest that, there be some outreach to the specialists that are already certified, just remind them that the examination is upcoming, and to, let people know that might be interested in joining the specialty.
yeah, so our announcement is for current specialists if they want to seek a second certification area, or if they have any other partners or other referrals that they think would be interested in the program. So
Great, thank you.
thanks, Natalie.
All right, moving on to item 3 business. We're going to discuss and potentially approve proposed changes to the legal specialist exam refund rules and policies. There's a recommendation to circulate State Bar Rule 3.116 for public comment. Adrian, can you present this?
Of course. So this item is requesting 2 things. It is requesting first to approve a general legal specialist exam refund policy, which could apply to all future administrations of the legal specialist exam, including this upcoming 2023 exam. And then second, recommend that the Board of Trustees circulate Legal Specialization Rule 3.116 for a 60-day public comment period pertaining to the addition of language defining legal specialist examination applications that would be ineligible for refunds. For some background, generally fees paid into the legal specialization program, they are non-transferable and non-refundable, including the exam registration fees. Staff have previously applied a refund policy to the 2021 exam and proposed creating a general policy that could apply to future administrations without the need for annual review with each administration. Staff also recommended providing additional language to the legal specialization rules that can be read in combination with the proposed policy, defining the type of exam applications that would be ineligible for a refund. Attachment A, it does provide that proposed policy, which was first introduced at the March CBLS meeting. The proposed policy provides definitions and general timeframes for any exam applicants that withdraw from the exam and instructions on requesting refunds. The policy also provides examples of different reasons applicants may request a refund, as well as the refund amount they would be eligible for. Attachment B provides the proposed edits to Rule 3.116, which was also first presented at the March CBLS meeting. The attachment provides that rule in track changes, as well as a clean version. In this rule, we added language defining those exam applications that would be ineligible for a refund and the different reasons why the application is ineligible. Just for additional background, so the CBLS do have the authority to develop the refund policy, but again, the Board of Trustees will need to approve any rule changes. If you have not been able to take a look at that attachment, I would ask that you please do so. If there are no further edits to either of those attachments, it is recommended that the CBLS exam refund a fees policy provided in attachment A be approved and effective immediately. And then for attachment B, it's recommended that the CBLS approve the changes to Rule 3.116 to transmit them to the Board of Trustees to request a 60-day public comment period. We can also make additional edits as needed before taking any action.
All right, so the first question is, has everyone had a chance to review it? And then once you have, does anyone have any suggestions for additional edits to either the refund of fees policy or the changes to Rule 3.116? Okay. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to have the refund of fees policies approved and effective immediately?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Hammerschmidt has moved to make the refund of fees policy provided in attachment A effective immediately and applied to all future administrations of the legal specialty examinations, including the 2023 exam. Is that seconded?
I'll second.
Mr. Lee seconds. All right, Adrian, will you take roll call?
Acosta,
Yes.
Alano,
Yes.
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
Yoon.
Yes.
6 yeses, that first motion is approved.
All right. Would anyone like to move to approve the changes to Rule 3.116 provided in Attachment B and have it transmitted to the Board of Trustees to request a 60-day public comment period?
I move to approve.
I second.
Right, Ms. Acosta moved to approve, I should say Judge Acosta moved to approve, and Ms. Yoon seconds. Adrian, will you take a roll call?
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Alano,
yes,
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon.
Yes.
6 yeses. That is also approved. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the discussion and approval of proposed changes to the legal specialist exam results, rules, and policies, and a recommendation to circulate State Bar Rule 3.110 and State Bar Rule 3.116 for public comment. Adrian?
Of course. So this item, again, it requests 2 things from the CBLS. First, it's to recommend that the Board of Trustees circulate Legal Specialization Rule 3.110 for a 60-day public comment period pertaining to the change in time required to apply for initial certification. And then 2, recommend that the Board of Trustees circulate Legal Specialization Rule 3.116 for a 60-day public comment period pertaining to the addition of language defining the the legal specialist exam results validity period. For some background, currently the State Bar legal specialization rules, they provide successful applicants 36 months from the date that they passed the exam to apply for initial certification. That's broken down, so they get an initial 18 months to apply, or they can get an additional 18 months if requested. The legal specialization rules also require that applicants for initial certification have 5 years in practice in the desired specialty area. Consequently, in order to be eligible for initial certification and meet the 5-year practice requirement before the expiration of passing results of the exam, an applicant must have been practicing in the specialty area for 2 years before taking the exam. This is a de facto requirement not specifically stated in the rules, but results from the relationship between the various rules. Staff recommend providing language in the legal specialization rules to update the time frame needed to apply for initial certification, specifically define the 5-year period, and provide other clarification in the rules unrelated to a 5-year policy. Given the 5-year practice requirement required for legal specialization certification, aligning the exam results validity period from 3 years to 5 to match both the legal specialization practice requirement and also the bar exam timeframe seems appropriate and fair to legal specialist exam applicants. So attachment A, it provides the proposed edits to Rule 3.110, which was first presented at the March CBLS meeting. The attachment does provide that rule in track changes and also a clean version. In this rule, we updated the time frame of 3 years to 5 years. We also added language specifically stating that results become invalid after the 5-year period and clarifies that a successful applicant would need to pass the exam again if the 5 years have passed. Attachment B provides proposed edits to Rule 3.116, which was also first presented at the March CBLS meeting. This attachment has that rule in track changes as well as a clean version. Here we added language defining the 5-year validity period and provided further clarification that successful applicants are not entitled to see their scores. The latter clarification does not change the results proposal, but it was needed to clean up the rule. I'm hoping everyone had a chance to look at that. And if there are no further edits to either attachment, it is recommended that the CBLS approve the changes to Rule 3.110 provided in Attachment A and transmit them to the Board of Trustees to request a 60-day public comment period. And it's further recommended that the CBLS approve the changes to Rule 3.116 provided in Attachment B and transmit those to the Board of Trustees to request a 60-day public comment period. We can also make additional edits as needed before taking any action.
Okay, so hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review those two documents. And if you have any suggestions for edits, now would be the time to do so.
I just have a question. I mean, what circumstance or how many cases are there to accommodate, let's say 3 years or 5 years? Because I mean, whether it's 3 years or 5 years, it's just meaningless to me. But were there like a medical condition so they weren't able to participate in the legal certification or specialization? What's the background of this proposal or this policy?
Of course. So with the 3-year validity period, applicants to take the exam, they have to have been practicing for at least 2 years before they can take the exam. If we increase the validity period to 5 years, applicants can take the exam regardless of having any experience in that area already. They would just take the full 5 years to meet that 5-year practice requirement. So this would open up the exam to like brand new licensees or licensees who are transitioning to new areas of law or to new firms, where they wouldn't have to wait so long before they can take the exam. They could just take it right away.
And we also, I believe we discussed this at the December meeting, but we wanted to make it consistent with the recertification process as well, which is a 5-year process. And so we felt that that was some consistency in the rules.
Okay, all right. No, I was just curious.
Great. All right, would anybody like to make a motion that the CBLS approve the changes to Rule 3.110 provided in Attachment A and transmit them to the Board of Trustees to request a 60-day public comment period?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, Acosta moves, Hammerschmidt seconds. Adrian, will you take roll?
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Alano,
yes,
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon.
Yes,
That is 6 yeses. The first motion is approved.
All right. Would anyone like to move that the CBLS approve the changes to Rule 3.116 provided in Attachment B and transmit them to the Board of Trustees to request a 60-day public comment period?
so moved,
Second.
Alano moves, Acosta seconds. Adrian, would you please take roll?
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Alano,
yes,
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon.
yes.
Thank you. That is also 6 yeses. The motion is approved.
Thank you. All right, moving to the last item on our open session agenda, review and approval of the 2022 annual report of the California Board of Legal Specialization. Adrian.
Of course. So this item, it requests that the CBLS review and approve the 36th annual report of the California Board of Legal Specialization, which covers calendar year 2022. The annual report is completed each year to document and preserve historical data for the program. Notable developments for 2022 includes final development and the launching of an online exam item banking and development system for the legal specialist exam. And also the CBLS conducting its first hybrid in-person and remote meeting since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Attachment A provides a draft to that annual report. If there are no further edits, it is recommended that the CBLS approve the annual report, and we can post it to the legal specialization landing pages of the State Bar website. We can also make additional edits as needed before taking any action.
All right, so hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review the annual report draft. If not, please take a moment to do so now. And if there is anyone that would like to move that the California Board of Legal Specialization approve the 2022 annual report of the CBLS for receipt and filing.
So moved.
Hammerschmidt moves.
I second. Oh,
We will.
Lee and
I just-
Acosta second.
yes. And I'd like to thank the staff for their work on this report. It's a very good report, and thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you. Adrian, can you take roll?
Of course. Acosta,
Yes.
Alano,
Yes.
Hammerschmidt,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
and Yoon.
Yes.
That is 6 yeses. The annual report is approved. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. Well, that concludes the open session items. We're going to drop off this link and go into the closed session. Just want to remind everyone that we will come back on to the open session link at the end of the closed session to close out the meeting. But thank you. Let's see you in the
Okay.
closed session.
Sorry, there's no closed session.
Oh, we have none today. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this meeting up. Great, thank you. So we'll go ahead and close the meeting. It is now 10:52 a.m. The June 30th, 2023 meeting of the CBLS is closed.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy 4th, everybody.